All right, what's going on, guys? Sorry I'm a little bit late. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over a couple of the problems on our weather instrument chart where we're looking at dew point and relative humidity, okay? So for this, you got to be on page 12, okay? And then you also have to have the worksheet, all right? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to go over a couple of these, all right? Because I know some people are still submitting them, still working on them. But some of the things that you guys might have questions on, we're going to go through, all right? So for the first one, I'm going to do the very first problem, okay? So number one, all right? We have a dry bulb temperature, all right? This is what they give us. And they're telling us it's 8 degrees Celsius, okay? Now we have the wet bulb, which they are telling us is 6 degrees Celsius. All right. And they give us basically a blank spot for the difference between the wet bulb and the dry bulb, the dew point, and the relative humidity. So all we have to do to find the difference, okay, for number one, is you're just going to minus it, all right? You're going to minus the 6 from the 8. So you get 2 degrees Celsius is the difference. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go to page 12, okay? So page 12, it's got those two parts where the giant graphs like this, all right? And then on the top, it's the difference. And then on the side, it's just the dry bulb temperature, okay? So what you're going to do is we already know what the dry bulb is. It's 8 degrees Celsius. So we have to find 8 degrees Celsius over here, and we're going to follow it across where it matches with the difference between the dry bulb and the wet bulb, which we calculated to be 2. So you find 2 over here, you go down, and the number that it's going to give you for this is 3 degrees Celsius, okay? Now that is the dew point. We have to now find the relative humidity. All right, so the relative humidity, we're going to stay on the same page, but now we're going to that bottom chart, okay? And it's still broken down like this. You have the dry bulb temperature, and you have the difference between the wet bulb and the dry bulb. The only difference is the numbers inside in the units, all right? So if now you go down to the dry bulb, which is the same, it's 8 degrees Celsius, and you go for the difference, which is 2, you're going to get the relative humidity to be 74. Now you have to be careful because we've been used to doing degrees Celsius, but the 74 is actually percent. It's 74%, okay? So let's do another one. I'm going to keep this chart on the side, but I'm going to get rid of these guys. All right, let's try. We're going to go down to the fourth one, okay? So the fourth one, it tells us that our dry bulb is negative 20 degrees Celsius, okay? Now our wet bulb is 20 degrees Celsius. I'm sorry, negative 20 degrees Celsius. So it's the same number right now. So we still have to find the difference. So there is no difference between these two numbers, okay? So it's going to be 0 degrees, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this into our chart again, all right? We're going to find where negative 20 is, and negative 20 on the chart is pretty high up, okay? It's going to be all the way at the top. So you're going to be looking at a place right up here, okay? Now the difference is 0, so it's going to be the first box. So our dew point that we just calculated equals negative 20 degrees Celsius, okay? Now we have to find the relative humidity. For this, I'm just going to put RH, all right, relative humidity. So we're going to go down to the bottom of the page now, to this chart. We are going to go to -20, and our difference is still 0. And you'll see it gives us 100. So it's 100%. And what you can notice also with this chart going down is if you look at the 0, if there's no difference between the dry bulb and the wet bulb, you'll notice that it's always 100% for relative humidity, okay? All right, so that's that other example when there's no difference in the wet bulb and the dry bulb, okay? So this is pretty much how the rest of them kind of went. I want to do another one, which got a little bit trickier, okay? There's 2 of them as we go down the chart. So for the next one, I want you guys to look at where it says, let's see how many far down ones. The 9th one down. So the dry bulb, it says it's 17 degrees Celsius, all right? So for this, it says the dry bulb equals 17 degrees Celsius, and the wet bulb equals 13 degrees Celsius, okay? So that's ours right now. So the first thing we got to do is we got to find the difference, okay? So 17 minus 13, 4 degrees Celsius, all right? That's the difference. Now, the only problem that we have now is our dry bulb is 17. We have to find that on this chart. When you're looking at your chart for the dew point, okay, it only goes, it's all even numbers, but we have an odd number, okay? So what we have to do is 17 is between what 2 numbers? 17 is between 16 and 18, right? So we're actually going to look. So if I put 16 here and 18 here, okay, and that's our chart, I'm going to be looking at both of these, okay? And I'm going to be going across my chart until I hit the difference of 4, okay? So when I get to 4 at the top and I'm looking down, I see that for 16, all right, because I'm doing this right now. I follow it down. I find where the 16 is. I get 9 degrees Celsius for 16, and then I get 11 degrees Celsius for 18, okay? So since I know I'm looking for really 17 degrees, I go across what's between 9 and 11, it's going to be 10 degrees, okay? That's all we have to do for this is when they give us an odd number, we look in between whatever numbers that it's given. For our case, it's 16 and 18 because we're looking at 17. We follow it across, okay? And we end up getting something, a number between 11 and 9, which has to be 10. So our dew point for this problem equals 11 degrees Celsius. So we're going to do the same thing now for relative humidity, okay? So I'm going to erase this. And now we're going to look at the 2 numbers that we have to go in between for relative humidity. So relative humidity, our dew point, or our dry bulb is still 17. So we go between 16 and 18 again on the relative humidity side. We still know our difference is 4, okay? We follow it down, but now we just have different numbers that show up. So if I go to 16 and 18, I go to the difference of 4. I get 62 and 64, okay? So 16 at the difference of 4, and then 18 at the difference of 4. So remember, we are looking for the dry bulb of 17, which is going to be inside of here. We go across, and the only number in between 62 and 64 is 63 degrees Celsius. Okay, So that's going to be our relative humidity equals 63. And I just made a mistake. What's wrong with this? The 63 degrees Celsius, is that what we put for relative humidity? No, it's going to be percent. So 63%. Okay. It's very easy because I just did it to make a mistake like that. Always remember dew point, degrees Celsius, relative humidity, percent. You don't want to ever get it wrong because, again, the charts have the actual degrees on it or the symbols. All right. Okay. So there's a couple of questions like that where you just have to go in between both of the numbers. Now, there could be a case where there's a couple of numbers in between. You just have to fit them perfect, over in it, all right? If it's something like, where this number is actually 8, you don't want to put the middle number as 63, okay? Move it up a little more. Maybe go to 65. All right, just try to get something in the middle. All right, so that's that other problem. Now, the last kind of question that they gave us is I want you to go all the way down to the second to last one, okay? Actually, let's go to the last one. So the last one, okay, they don't give us the dry bulb and they don't give us the wet bulb. Instead, they give us the difference. So what I want you to do is what you have on your chart. So I'm going to write up here. The difference that I got is 8 degrees, okay? They give me the dew point equals 10 degrees Celsius. And then they give me the relative humidity, which equals 42 degrees, okay? So now I have to find the dry bulb and the wet bulb, okay? So let's try to figure this out really quick. So the dry bulb and the wet bulb, how do we figure out their numbers by what we have with our difference, our dew point, and our relative humidity? So what we're going to actually do is the first part to start off with is our difference, okay? So we know that our difference is 8. So I'm going to take all this off, all right? Our difference is 8. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to your chart. You're going to look for 8 at the top. Remember, we're looking for dew point, okay? So we're going to find 8. Let's say 8's here. What you're going to do is you're going to follow this all the way down until you hit the dew point that they gives you, okay? Remember, we're starting at where the 8 is, our difference, and we're going down until we hit 10 degrees Celsius, okay? When you hit the 10 degrees Celsius symbol, you're going to go across, and that is going to give you what your dry bulb temperature is, okay? So if we do this, I find my 8-degree difference. I go across, I find where 10 is. It's going to be over here. And then I follow that across. I'm going to get 24 degrees Celsius, okay? So 24 degrees Celsius is going to be my dry bulb. Now, you can also double check this, all right? Let's say we did it with relative humidity. So this is my dew point chart. Now, let's just say this is relative humidity. If I go to 8 again, and I follow it all the way down, but instead I look for my 42%. I go all the way down. I get to 42. I go across. And again, it is 24 degrees Celsius. So my dry bulb is 24 degrees Celsius. So that's the dry bulb. Now, remember, to get the wet bulb, it's only the difference. So what you're going to do is you're going to do 24 degrees Celsius minus 8. Okay? So all you're doing is 24 minus 8. and you're going to get 16 degrees. So that is your dry bulb and your wet bulb. Okay. So that is how you do this type of problem reverse. All right. They give you the numbers. And then from there, you have to actually find the difference, find the number that they give you, follow it across. It gives you the dry bulb number. And then from there, you take your dry bulb number and you minus it, okay? So for over the weekend, I'm going to give you guys some more problems like this. I'm going to upload another PowerPoint when we start to get into actually looking at web maps, okay? So that's going to be the next one, and then we're going to go over that on Monday, okay? Again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm pretty much going to give you guys over the weekend, I'm going to start grading some of the stuff that you assigned. I noticed once I start grading it, some of you guys start sometimes submitting it in the middle of the night. So I'll wait until as much come in, and then I'll start grading them and handing them back. All right. Keep up the good work. If you have any questions, just let me know. Okay. All right, guys. I'll see you later.